Hi guys, let's kick this off. It's Tuesday. It's hot. How are we feeling? It's cool in here. It's getting hot outside. How are we feeling today? Let's kick it off with some positive focus. What are you feeling good about today? Business or personal? Do you have anybody you want to give a shout out to? Do you have anything exciting going on that you want to share with the team? Do you have a great weekend? What is on your mind today? I need a couple volunteers. What do we got? Raise your hand. Brendan, talk to me. 2 appointments for breakfast. Let's go. Let's do it. Okay, that. All right. Tell me about those appointments. Anything exciting? 2 flex calls? Nice. Awesome. When are you meeting with them?
Saturday.
Awesome.
One Saturday and one Sunday.
One Saturday, one Sunday. Excellent. Hello, welcome. Come on in. Nice to see you. Grab a seat anywhere. All right. Who else got something? Positive focus. What are you feeling good about today? Business, personal. You have anybody you want to shout out? Talk to me. Is everyone quiet today? I don't know. Why are you guys being shy today? What's up? Talk to me, Tom.
Shadow open house. So good to get the experience in it. See how these guys do it.
Yeah.
What's cool to do it on my own now.
Awesome. What were some of the takeaways that you got from shadowing your first open house? Maybe was it what you expected? Was it different? Is there anything like that stood out to you that you're gonna implement?
I definitely learned that make it a bit more inviting. What I was imagining is we're gonna have some good music going, and I definitely want to give myself one of those speakers just to give people a good feeling of comfort as they're walking in instead of just dead silence or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
And just I'd say knowing a good amount, exactly where everything is in the house, is he was able to answer every question.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I don't even know where that is, and I realized, oh my gosh, I've never learned stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. The vibe is important, right, Blanca? To maybe speak on that really quick. How important is the vibe at the open house?
The vibe is really important because that just creates an experience for the buyers. The overall experience. And John and I have a perfect example of a Fremont listing we had, and we had 2 open houses going on, ours and another. And they visit the first open house and then to our house. And the feedback was always like, what a great experience. The ambience, the home just feels more luxurious. And actually that home was pretty nice. It was nicely updated. It was a model floor plan. Ours wasn't. They had a lot of the bells and whistles on their unit, but the experience that John and I created at our open house, I think, was the overall selling point for the property. It's just greeting, having music. I always bring candles. I like to have some candles burning, or treats, or cookies, or if it's something in the season for Halloween, candy, just something that's inviting for the experience, for sure.
Yeah.
Also make it your own, outshine yourself, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you have a video of one of those experiences you have created, and would you have a video?
Do I have a video? I don't have a video.
We don't have a video, but we have a training video on our agent launch that's all about how to win with open houses. And so a lot of that is put in there. And we go into detail. It's about an hour-long training. So if you're on our agent launch, there's a section on open houses. So I'll that. But I think it's important, guys. This isn't obviously an open house today, but it's important to touch on this because right now is a time when you're going to see more open houses. You got to think to yourself, when that buyer walks in, what is the likelihood that they're going to buy that home? High or low? Low, right? So what you got to think about is you're not necessarily there to sell them that home. You're there to be a resource to them in their journey of buying a home, right? Or they may even have a home to sell. They may be a neighbor thinking of selling their home and, maybe buying something, right? So you have to position yourself as a person who is knowledgeable, the person who brings good energy, who offers value. That's really the goal of the open house. Of course, should you know the home that you're hosting? Absolutely, because that showcases how you do business, right? So how you do one thing is how you do everything, right? So if they come in and you're super detailed, about this home, about the neighborhood, about the comps. You know the house that's listed down the street, that has foundation issues, and you know the school right around the corner. They're like going, okay, can this be the person that I work with to buy my home? Maybe it's not this one, maybe it's a different one. So some advice to you guys is preparation of your open house is key. So if you don't know the neighborhood, drive the neighborhood, pull up the comps, right? Throw the neighborhood in Chat GPT, throw the address in Chat GPT. Hey, if I was a buyer looking to buy this home, what would I want to know about the area? Stuff like that. Give me a bullet point and study that stuff. Maybe how to print it out. Right? So the more that you can showcase this is how I operate, that's going to allow you to win. And those are all things. Are those things in your control or out of your control? Now, if you wake up on a Saturday, an hour before, show up, hey guys, I'm here, open the door, or a door open. Your door open gets paid a lot? No. Do advisors and experts get paid a lot? Right? When you're working these open houses, right? And that's 100% in your control.
Flustered and in a rush because sometimes clients will be waiting there.
Oh, thank you.
Usually, just I usually put up open house 12 noon. My signs will be by 10. I have to drive, put them out, and then that gives me the opportunity to tour the home. Get familiar with the home, get familiar with the surroundings. That way, when you're driving for your open house, you're calm, you're ready, you have a sense of the neighborhood.
Yeah. Pull some other here's an analogy I always make, right? Have you ever gone to buy some shoes and they don't have your shoe? What does a good shoe salesperson do? They don't have your shoe. They bring something else. Or they bring half a size bigger and they say, hey, we're going to put an insole in it or something, right? They try to figure out a way to make it work. They try to be of value. Or they tell you about, hey, there's this other sneaker that's kind of like that one. We don't have that one, but we got this one. So think about yourself like that, right? Like if someone comes in and they don't like this house, you should know what other products are available. You should know what other listings are available in the neighborhood or coming soon or off market or anything like that. You can say, hey, you guys are looking for something a little bit bigger. Maybe this one doesn't fit, but I know of these other two. Do you guys have the time to take a look at them later today after we're done with the open house or tomorrow? Right? So think about it like that. You should always be researching the neighborhood, the comps, the market, the active inventory. That's how you become an expert at open houses. All right, I know I gave you guys a lot, but I know a lot of you guys are working open houses, so you know, have that in your mind. How am I showing up? How am I representing myself and my business at the open house? All right, let's get one more shout out, one more highlight. Positive focus, good news. Who's off to a great start this week? Raise your hand if you're off to a great start. Let's share that. That's awesome. Yeah. Tell me about that and why that's important for you and your family.
Well, it's my youngest,
Mhm.
so he's the last one, but he's also has autism and cognitive delays. Our older three all went to college. You know, I'm an attorney, I'm an engineer. I've got some smart kids. I don't know if they're mine. But my youngest, yeah, obviously has a different path. But UC Davis has a program. It's called the SEED program for people with cognitive, delays. But it gives them a 4-year college experience. It's really just preparing them for life so he can live on his own, possibly have a job, just kind of be as self-sufficient as possible. And they only take 12 kids a year.
Wow.
So we got waitlisted last year and he starts and he got in this year. So September he's in college.
That's awesome. Yeah, really happy for you guys. I know it's a big deal. Yeah, I know you're downplaying it, but it's a big deal for you guys, right? So congrats, man. Congrats to you and your family. Jose, did you have something? I think I saw your hand raised. Did you have something you want to share?
Well, I think you got off to a great start this week. I was my hand. I got a BRC signed yesterday, so that's positive focus for me, I guess.
Let's go. What is it about everybody just being humble and not like shouting themselves out or patting themselves on their back, right? Like, guys, we need to be our biggest cheerleader, right? Like we have the rest of the team to cheer for you, but you also got to be proud when you're doing the work and you're getting stuff done. You know, these are some big deals, right? Getting a BRBC, that means you signed a new client, right? That's a new client that said, hey, I want to work with you, Jose. You know, so like those are all things like we got to step up and share. You know what I mean? We got to start talking more about our wins. You know, the more we talk about our wins, it further ingrains that it's possible to win, right? So even if you're not winning yet, but you see other people winning, well, you know you're on the right team, right? So we got to share that stuff, guys. Don't be afraid to post. Don't be afraid to put your wins in Slack. Like that's the culture we need to step up and continue to build, right? It's fine to be humble, guys, but it's okay to, you know, brag a little bit. You know what I mean? If it's for the betterment of the team, all right? So let's do that. All right, let's keep it moving, guys. Some housekeeping stuff. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Show you where we are at. The market is picking up, guys. We got a little over 25 million closed and pending so far for the year. 4 active listings, 5 that are coming soon, and there's a few more in the pipe that are close to getting signed. So we definitely are picking up some momentum as we enter the spring. 7 pending deals for the month, 1 new signed listing for the month. And so we're definitely starting to pick up some speed, guys. Obviously, we need to keep pushing, right? We're tracking, you know, to be like close to 30 million closed and pending for the first quarter, right? Which tracks us to like over 120 million for the year. That's okay. You know, it's okay to, you know, but it's not where I think we should be. I think we should definitely be in the high 100s or close to 200 million as a team with the amount of talent that we have here and opportunity. I definitely think we can push for more, right? And the only way we're going to do that is if everybody really commits to their weekly activities and their goals each and every month, because they'll start to stack up, right? So I want to encourage you guys to get really clear, and we're going to talk about that today in the meeting, of what does a successful week look like for me, and what are my goals that I can chase for in the next 30 days, right? Because this quarter is about to be over, guys. In 2 more weeks, we're done with the first quarter. And just like that, a quarter of the year is gone, right? Now, what we have on our side is that Q2 and Q3 are typically our highest performing quarters. The first quarter is usually ramp up, and then Q2 and Q3, spring and summer, we usually see most transactions come in those 2 months, right? And then we see it start to taper off towards the holidays. Same thing again to the new year, and then repeat the process come spring and summer. So momentum right now is really on our side with where the market's at, where the rates are at. And that's the thing that we need to take advantage of, right? If there was ever a time when you need to put your foot on the gas, it's right now, right? Because you have all the factors that are behind you, right? We talked yesterday. Let's share that conversation when I called you. What were you telling me? Really quick.
That we were busy.
Yeah.
We're super busy and we're seeing a change in the market, and we can't take our foot off the pedal right now.
Yeah.
We basically just said we can't. We got to continue pushing and moving forward and taking care of our clients. We worked 7 days a week. Rob, Andrea, and myself were at a client's house at 8 a.m. on Sunday.
Yeah.
And we were there for about 2 hours. So we're grinding. And we're seasoned agents where you would think, oh, they have their weekends off. No, we do not.
Yeah.
We've been working 7 days a week for the past 3 weeks.
So Blanca's presenting it in a nice professional manner, but let me repeat what Blanca told me. Blanca calls me, or I jump on a call. Hey, Blanca, what's up, right? Oh, I'm tired. That's what she said. Right? And I'm like, what's up? She's like, man, I just been busy. She's like, I'm tired. Not a bad tired, but I'm busy. She's like, every single day this week, even on Saturday and Sunday, I've had appointments, I have bookings, I got multiple listings coming on the market, open houses. She's like, I just got an offer accepted on Foxglove, right? So let's shout her out on Foxglove. That one's been driving her crazy a little bit. Couple new listings going on the market. Like 3 or 4 other potential sellers that you're working with right now to sign listings, which is like every single day, right? I'm either showing homes, I'm meeting with the client, I'm doing something. And I'm like, well, do you want it any other way right now? Right? Like this is the time. Like spring, right? Look at the weather. Like this is the time when you buckle down and you grind, because maybe in December it's not like that, or maybe in January and February it's not as busy, you know? And so that's when we got to grind, right? So it's a blessing to be grinding, right? Because if you're grinding, that means you have opportunity to grind on, right? Or to pursue, right? So take it as a blessing, guys. I like sharing that. Let's look at the inventory. This is an interesting stat. We took the inventory last week for single family homes was at 946. This week it's at 1121. So almost 200 homes hit the market in the past 7 days for single families, right? That's just Santa Clara County. That's not Alameda, San Mateo, the other counties that we work in. That's only Santa Clara County, right? Multiply that by the other counties in the area. And you probably have, I don't know, 500-600 homes that hit the market in the last 7 days, right? Bay Area wide, at least. Townhouses and condos, right? That number jumped up to 867. And you can see, right, like earlier in the year, we were at 542 and now we're at 1121. We were at 498. Now we're at 867, right? That's when you really put things in perspective, is where we're at and where we're at now. You can see the total pending as well. Earlier in the year, we were carrying 287. Now we're at 666 today, right? That's a bad number. 667. Now we're at 324 on townhouse and condo, right? And so what I said a little while ago is the market is moving, guys, right? Like more inventory. If there's 1,121 homes for sale, that means there are 2 commissions being earned on every sale. There's a listing side and a buy side, right? So just in Santa Clara County, between townhouses and condos, I'm going to say this in a different perspective, right? There's what, 2,000 total times 2. There's 4,000 commission opportunities right now in Santa Clara County, right? Start saying it that way, then you start, okay, there's money to be made. There's clients to serve, right? So there's a lot of opportunity. The question is, what slice of that pie are you going to get? How much of that is going to go to you, right? And that's all up to you. Your weekly activities, stuff like that, which we're going to get into a little bit more. Who feels it, guys? I mean, we see the data, but who feels it out there as they're talking to people, looking at homes and stuff like that?
Yeah. Even touring open homes on the weekend, you see a lot more buyers out either alone or with their agents.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also the talking point when you're with your buyer.
Yep.
They ask, what do you think this home is going to be or go for? And you just reference how busy it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So really quickly, how can we turn this into a message that we put out on social media or to our buyers or sellers? What you just learned right now. Someone just give me the quick talk track. How's the market? Chital. Yeah.
So if you want to hear a number, DM me.
There you go. Simple as that, right? So another thing too, when you're talking about the market, is always talk about what it means for you, right? So the inventory has doubled from where we were at in January till now. Here's what that means for you as a buyer, or here's what that means for you as a seller, right? That's a way to take what you said and make it even more effective, because you're putting it in perspective of what it means for their situation. So now, what does that mean for a buyer?
Bigger choices than it was in January. You have rather double choices.
Yeah.
It was only 500 and now it's almost 1,200 inventory that you have.
Yeah.
So you can go and shop and find you the right home.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly, right? So for buyers, that means more options, more availability. Hey, if you were looking a couple months ago and you couldn't find anything, now is the time for us to start looking again, because there's a lot more homes for sale than there was a few months ago, right? And so DM me, call me, right? Or, hey, what area are you looking in? Let me pull up, the most recent homes that just popped up, right? So remember, guys, it's not just knowing the stats, it's knowing how to take the stats and turn it into a relevant conversation that's going to be effective for your potential buyer or seller, right? So make sure you guys are utilizing these numbers. It's great to be here and like, yeah, okay, I know what the market's doing, but if you can't turn that into a conversation, right, then you're coming up short there, right? So everybody needs to be able to take that and turn it into a simple conversation about what that means for you as a buyer or what that means for you as a seller, right? Raise your hand if you feel confident you can at least have a simple conversation like that. Raise your hand. Okay, raise your hand if you're not so confident. Like, oh, that's still kind of hard for me, Enrique. Like, I don't know if I'm there yet. And that's okay. Okay, Elizabeth, you're new still. You're still getting licensed, right? So you have an excuse still, right? But what I would say to Elizabeth, right, and to anybody else who maybe didn't raise their hand, right, is that just keep it simple. The main thing is when you take this, turn it into a simple conversation, right? The simpler you can make it and put it in layman's terms or fourth grade, material, the easier, right? So
Reminds me of my theology teacher in college saying that because we would be studying these very complex concepts with human physiology, and he said that you've got to break down the language to Safeway language, meaning that you can explain the disease process to someone who works at Safeway, like someone working at Safeway would understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, right? Because for the average person, guys, like that's what they're coming for you. They're coming for you to take the complex and turn it into something easy for them to understand, right? And it keeps you in your lane. When you keep the conversation simple, then you stay in your lane and you don't veer too often to the weeds, right? Because that's where you can get in trouble. Any questions, guys, about the market, the activity, what this means for buyers and sellers? Is everybody clear on what it means for buyers? Yes? Okay. Is everybody clear on what this means for sellers? What does this mean for sellers, guys, with the inventory going up? More competition.
But there are more buyers out
Yeah. More competition, more buyers. So if you were, John, if you were to, give someone a brief kind of state of the market, what it means for sellers, what would you say?
There's a lot more, there's definitely more homes for sale. There's a lot more buyers coming out.
Yeah.
We just need to be more competitive, and you can't list high and see what happens because there's too much competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Great points. Right. So you can use this like when you're talking about pricing strategy. You could use it when you're talking about how to prepare your home for sale. Hey, because there's more competition, that means buyers are now going to be more selective. They're going to look at your home and then they're going to look at the home down the street. And so if yours isn't nicer or priced better, they may see that as a better value, right? So that's why it's important right now that we prep your home for sale and then we price it attractively to try to drive as much traffic in the door, right? And so you could spin this, guys, either way for buyer or seller, right? And turn it into a value proposition that you're giving them, right? And if you're not sure, guys, ask me, ChatGPT, right? Text me, DM me, I can help you, all right? Anything to add, Blanca?
No, I think, I just want to congratulate all the agents too who jump on the open homes. I know that there's not many of you, for example, that and Tom, who have experience, but you're putting yourself out there. So continue to do that because that's how you gain your experience and all that. And just have all these talking points.
Yeah.
For reference and be casual about it.
Yeah.
Be yourselves. Don't overthink it and don't overfluff it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Keep it simple.
I like that. Don't overfluff it, right?
Good conversations.
Yeah. People can smell when you're just trying to like oversell something, right? And nowadays you're going to connect a lot more if you're just genuine, honest, even if you don't know, it's okay to say, you know what? I don't really know. We don't have a crystal ball, but here's what I'm seeing, and then people will appreciate that, right? Okay. I'm kind of going backwards. We have a guest in the house. You want to introduce yourself, Georgia, really quick. Some of you guys have met Georgia before, but just give your real quick introduction, who you are.
Hi everyone, Georgia. I am just recently licensed, and I did come here and meet a few of you last year when I was just getting started with school. But yeah, I'm licensed now, ready to hit the ground running, and would love to meet all of you.
Let's go. Welcome, Georgia. Yeah, so we've been in touch for quite some time, and she was going through the licensing phase, and she hit me up. She's like, I passed finally. I'm ready to go. So Georgia's going through onboarding, so you'll be seeing her around. She plans to be in the office, a couple days a week, and at our meetings and stuff like that. And you have like a law background or something, right?
Yeah. So different career switch up here, but hopefully I can three books together.
Yeah.
It helped me with the exam, that's for sure.
There you go. Yeah. So Georgia's super sharp. I know she's definitely going to bring a lot of value to the team. So excited. So welcome. Let's go. Let's go. All right. One thing I wanted to look at, or let's see, just kind of getting back to basics, guys, on our weekly activity. That's something that we haven't looked at for a while, but I do want to start incorporating that in the mix. And when I talk about weekly activity is what does your follow-up boss say that you are doing, right? Because follow-up boss tells a story. It doesn't tell the whole story, but it tells a story, right? And usually success is going to leave clues, right? And in a couple of different ways. So the great thing about follow-up boss is I could pull up the last week and I can see what everybody's activity is, right? Some of you guys have seen this before. Some of you guys haven't seen it too many times, but it gives us a score, right? So if you book an appointment, it's going to give you 500 points per appointment that you book. If you have a conversation for over 2 minutes, it's going to give you 100 points per conversation. If you make a call, an outbound call from follow-up boss, it's going to give you 10 points. If you send a text, it gives you 2. And if you send an email, it gives you 1. So the most weight for points is going to be on appointments you set, conversations lasting over 2 minutes, and actual outbound calls, right? So this is a good way to just kind of gauge, did I have a solid week, right? Now, the numbers don't say everything, right? Some of you guys may have to make a lot of calls to book one appointment. Some of you guys maybe have more lead opportunities. Some of you guys are getting more referrals, right? And so kind of goes in order of importance to least important. The first metric I'm looking at, guys, is appointments, right? Appointments are probably one of the most important metrics is how many you set and how many you met with, right? Because that's going to really tell you where your business is at. If you're meeting with people consistently every single week, naturally, what's going to happen, guys? What's going to happen naturally if you're meeting with people every week?
Sales,
You're going to get sales, right?
contract.
You're going to get contracts, right? Because you book an appointment, you meet with people, and then you show them homes or you do a consult, and then that turns into a contract, right? So the number one metric that I would say we care about is going to be set and met. How many appointments are you setting? How many are you meeting? Now, conversations are important as well, because if you're not talking to people, well, then how are you going to book appointments, right? And the challenge with follow-up boss is some of you guys are just calling people straight from your phone and they're not being tracked in follow-up boss. Some of you guys are using the system and you're tracking all your calls, right? And so I can see someone like Shito here had 153 calls, outbound dials, which is awesome, right? 153 calls. She had 10 solid conversations, 64 texts, 26 emails, and 3 appointments that were set, right? So this right here is a solid week right here, right? And that's only going to continue to grow, right? So I want everybody to just take some inventory of where they're at. And also what I want to talk about is what does a successful week look like for you, right? So in terms of calls, appointments met. So maybe we could just go around the room really quick. And I want to just hear from you. Appointments set, appointments met, calls. What's a successful week for you? That's what I want to know, right? So I'm just going to point to you. What's a successful week for you?
For me, I think right now it's 2 to 3 appointments being met.
Okay.
At least like a buyer consultation over the phone or something. So 2 to 3.
2 to 3 appointments, right? So maybe that's fine. Let's keep it at appointments. How many appointments should you meet with? 2 to 3 per week, right? If you're consistently meeting with 2 to 3, that's solid, right? How about for you, Megan?
Making at least 100 calls and booking 2 to 3 appointments, but it is really difficult for me to reach that goal also. And I want to meet more people if I can weekly to talk to people.
Okay. So at least 100 calls, 2 to 3 appointments set, right? How about for you, V?
I haven't gotten the lot for calling yet because maybe Jason thinks that I'm not ready. So he just gave me initial 42, which I can more. So maybe I have to ask for.
Okay. So you need more leads. But what would you say if you just had to give you like a metric right now? What's a solid week for you? 2 appointments a week. Okay. Shri, how about for you?
Yeah, it's 5 easy calls and good conversations for your money.
5 appointments. Okay. Shito.
10 good conversations and at least 3 appointments.
3 appointments. Okay.
I wanted to continue like that.
Okay. John, how about for you?
4 to 5.
4 to 5 appointments. Luis,
Me 2 to 3.
2 to 3 appointments,
Yeah.
4 appointments.
150 calls, 42 appointments.
Okay. Hayden,
100 calls, 2 appointments.
Rob, what's a good week for you? How many calls or appointments per week? 5 appointments per week. Blanca, 4 appointments. Those of you guys online, what do you got?
3 to 4 appointments a week.
3 to 4 appointments a week, David?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. Okay. Mark, you said 5 appointments a week? Jose,
2 to 3.
okay.
For me,
Um,
2 to 3 appointments too.
Okay.
For me, 2 to 3 appointments.
2 to 3 appointments. Okay.
I'll be happy with 1.
Raymond, Eduardo,
Yeah.
with 1. All right. We're just getting started. So 1.
Yeah, mine's gonna be more on the call side, just doing more calls, getting more
Okay.
more conversations out there.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. It's a good survey, guys. What I want you guys to look at is there's no right or wrong answer, right? Everyone has goals, right? So everyone's goals are different. Someone that wants to make 200,000, 300,000 plus is going to need to meet with more people, right? Or go after bigger deals as well, right? Someone who's just getting started and they're like, hey, I want to crack my first 6 figures, maybe that metric is less, but it's important that you guys have a target. Because if you don't have a target and you don't have a scoreboard, right, that you're looking at, how do you know if you're winning the game? Imagine like if we turned the Super Bowl on and there was no scoreboard and you just see guys crashing into each other, right? In the halftime show, Bad Bunny or whatever, right? We want a winner at the end of the game, right? So there has to be a scoreboard, right? And that scoreboard could be different for everybody, but you guys need to know what your number is. That's the point I'm trying to make, right? And that number needs to live somewhere. It needs to be written down. It needs to be posted somewhere. You need to be reminded of that somehow. That's why we do these accountabilities, but this only goes so far, right? We also have to have self-accountability. So I would encourage you guys to write your numbers down somewhere that you can look at on a daily basis and remind yourself, these are my metrics. Maybe you're going off of calls, maybe you're going off of appointments, maybe it's a combination, right? Because it's one thing to just say in the meeting, but then as soon as we leave this meeting, if that wasn't written down, then what's going to happen to that goal? Becomes kind of a good idea in the moment, right? And so what I want to point out to you guys is that to win the game of real estate, to get a lot of sales, it's all about just focusing on a couple things and just doing it consistently week by week. If you say appointments is my number, right? I'm just going off of set or even met. Maybe you want to go skip to the line, right? How many people do I meet with? If you meet with 3 to 4 people every single week, you will sell a lot of real estate. But to meet with 3 to 4 people, how many do you have to set? Right? Because some of them cancel, some of them reschedule, right? How many calls do you have to make? And so whatever metric works for you, it's fine, right? There's no right or wrong, but you should have a metric, right? The same way that I pull up our numbers every week and I pull up the stats and all that to track where we're at, you guys should do the same thing as business owners, right? And so then the question, once you have your metric, then you can grade yourself. Okay, was this week a productive week? If my goal was to meet with 3 people and I met with 4, grand slam this week, right? If my goal was to meet with 3 and I only met with 1, well, what got in the way of me meeting with 3? Right? What do I have to adjust? Maybe I wasn't focused. Maybe I forgot what my goal was, right? And so it's not rocket science, guys, but it does require discipline, right? And so we know the market's on our side, right? We know we have the opportunities coming in, but do we have the discipline to stick to our metric every single week is the question, right? Raise your hand, like if you know you're really self-disciplined. Like I don't really need anybody to babysit me. Like I make stuff happen. Nobody?
Raise my hand.
Raise your hand. Oh, there you go. I like it. Right? Raise your hand if you're like, I do better when I have someone pushing me a little bit. Most of you guys? Okay. Most of you guys. Rob, which one? Do you do better when someone's pushing you or are you pretty self-disciplined? Okay. Most of you guys fell in the category of I perform better when someone's pushing me a little bit, right? So the question for all you guys is, do I have permission to push you? Now raise your hand if I have permission to push you. so that you can succeed. All right, cool. I love it. Oh, we're in the right room then because everybody raised their hand, right? And so what I want to do is have like maybe a way that we incorporate this into our meeting because we meet every Tuesday anyways, right? So maybe we can say like everybody has to post their metric, and then every week we're just going to call on everybody. Did you hit your metric, right? Or we use our growth pods, right? We're already meeting with our growth pods, and we've built that environment. So that needs to also be part of that accountability there, right? But it should be somewhere, right? It should be here at this meeting, or it should be in your growth pod meeting. It should be somewhere, right? Because if not, we'd have great ideas and then those just leave us, right? Who's in, guys, on more accountability? All right. You guys all raised your hand. If not, I volunteered you. What are your thoughts on this, guys? I know I'm kind of speaking up here. What are your thoughts on this? Give me some feedback. Yeah.
So for appointment set, would it just be like a buyer broker consultation, or would it be like buyer broker meeting with the lender, showing houses? Would that be, or is it just a one-time?
Great question, right? So Jorge's question was, do we count like every appointment for that one client, like
every main appointment?
right? Or do we only count like that one client first appointment, right? What are your guys' thoughts? Yeah.
I think you would show your home to the second point. Maybe you'll call, or maybe not.
Yeah, I would count appointments that move the needle forward, right? No, Jason's not on there. Yeah.
Like on the appointment set, so when you pick up the phone, he's saying that, this is what he told me. That when you pick the phone, and we set the initial appointment, that's the appointment set. And then when we end up showing homes, then it goes back to showing homes. That's the way that he.
I think it goes to Met, and then if you show more homes, it goes to showing
homes.
Yeah. But what his question was is, if my goal is 3 appointments for the week, am I counting that initial appointment that I booked to meet with the client, and then I go set another appointment to show them homes? Does that count as appointment number 2, right? And then we meet with the lender. Does that count as appointment number 3, right? So that's what his question was, right?
Yeah.
That's the right question. And so what I'm saying is that you should count appointments that are going to move the needle forward, right? So like if it's the first time you're going to meet with someone to go show them a home, that's a pretty important appointment, right? I'd count that as an appointment, right? A new buyer showing or a new consultation, right? I'd count that as an appointment. Now, if I'm going to go show homes to that client again, I would count that as an appointment too, because you may show a home, they want to write an offer, and that moves the needle forward, right? What I wouldn't count as an appointment is like a follow-up call. Yeah, right? Like I talked to this guy, he told me to follow up with him on the 18th, so I put it as an appointment, so I booked an appointment. That's not an appointment to me, right? It's a follow-up. That's more of a task. So it's important to differentiate tasks from money-making activity appointments. First consult, first showing, offer consultation, listing appointment. Maybe you're meeting with them to walk the property with the contractor, right? That's an important appointment as well, right? To kind of get the plan going for listing the home. I think those are all appointments. Maybe it's a consultation with you and the lender, and you're going over the offer, right? Maybe that's all like an offer consultation. To me, that's an appointment, because business can come out as a result of that appointment, right? Or the result can be like new business, right? In contract or something signed. So I think to answer your question is, can a contract be had from my appointment? Either buyer broker contract, a listing contract, or offer getting accepted. To me, then that would count as an appointment, right? Was that helpful for some of you guys, right? Because when we're just saying like, hey, you got to book 3 or 4 appointments, well, it's like, okay, well, what counts as an appointment? So I want you guys to differentiate busy work versus productive work. Is there a lot of busy work that has to happen to make deals happen? Yeah, there's tasks, right? So it's clear that we differentiate task versus productivity appointments, right? Tasks, that's just part of the game, right? You got to do tasks. Who else has a question, guys? Any clarifying questions? Okay, so hopefully we're getting clear on like what a productive week looks like, right? And what we're aiming for. So I would say you're going to want to have like your activity goal, right? Which is like the appointment stuff that we talked about. And then you should have a production goal for that month and for that quarter. So maybe my goal for the quarter is 4 transactions. So then if I divide that up between each month, I got to get 1 to 2 deals in contract each month, and I'll end up with 4 or more, right? Now you can enter the month or enter the week and say, okay, I have a scoreboard. I have a target that I'm chasing. And that's how you think like a business owner. That's how you take control of your business and where it's going. That's how you can now know when I got to step on the gas a little bit more, or when I'm doing okay and I just got to keep the same level, right? But going into it blind, that's the biggest mistake that you can make as a business owner, right? Just like, oh, I'm just working. Enrique said, make calls. I make calls. Like that doesn't work that way, right? Why are we making calls? What's the outcome we're looking for? That's what I want you guys to take ownership of. Okay. So that was the back to basic speech. And then what I'm going to do is going forward at each meeting, we'll do a pulse check. What's your metric? Where are you at? 3 appointments was your goal? How many did you meet with this week? Right? Because if we create this game where we all have our numbers and we're all just kind of helping each other hit the number, like we said, a little bit of a push, the results are going to be we perform a lot better. All right? Okay. Zillow changes. So I wanted to talk about some changes that are happening with Zillow. We had a meeting this morning with Zillow. Some of us were on there. What Zillow is rolling out, right? For some of you guys that are in the Zillow Flex program or wanting to get in the Zillow Flex, Zillow Preferred is what it's called now. They are changing the way they allocate leads now. So they went through a lot of iterations, right? Zillow has constantly tried to, adapt, to the market and make changes to increase performance. And so what they are doing, what we're going to get rid of is going to be the shifts. So the shifts are, I know we just switched to that, guys, so I apologize. We switched to the shifts, and then Zillow tells us, hey, guys, we're changing the rules, right? So unfortunately, we're going to get rid of shifts, because what Zillow is doing is Zillow is strictly going to give leads, more leads to the people who are performing. It's going to be just strictly performance-based. In the past, Zillow would give leads to our team, and then we can route them based off who was paused, who was not paused, who was shift, who was not on the shift. We had a little bit more control over who we funneled leads to. But what Zillow is doing now through the whole program is they're saying, hey guys, we're going to grade you, each individual person, by how they perform. And then you're going to get a category of a high performer, a fair performer, or a low performer. And if you're a high performer, you get first priority on leads, right? If nobody answers those calls, then it goes to the fair performers. And if no one answers those calls, which probably won't happen, then the low performers will get their shot. So it's going to now, leads will be given to the people who perform more. And to keep it really simple, guys, the way that they're going to judge you on how you perform, it's how many, your conversion rate, and how many you refer to ZHL, to Zillow Home Loans. So there's 2 metrics that we need to know, the numbers 5 and 10. So everybody say 5. 5, 10. That's the 2 numbers you need to know. So they want you to convert at a 5% or higher, right? So if they give you 20 connections and you get 1 in contract, that's a 5% conversion rate. So for every 20 connections you get, they want you to get at least 1 or more in contract to put you as a high performer. In addition to that, for every 20 leads you get, they want you to get 2 Zillow pre-approvals, which would be a 10%, right? So 5 and 10, that would be 10% of the connections, minus out. They're going to minus stuff that doesn't qualify, like mobile homes or land deals, right? So those will be taken out of the equation. But essentially, they want you to at least refer 10% of the connections for a Zillow home loans pre-approval. Pre-approvals. You got to get them pre-approved. Because you might refer 5 of them and then 2 of them get pre-approved and you hit your number. Yeah. So not referrals, actual pre-approvals, right? So if you are converting 1 out of every 20 in contract and you are getting 2 approvals out of every 20 that you get, you hit the 5 and 10, you are considered a high performer. Right? If you are doing less than that, then you go to fair. If you are doing less than that, then you go to low. And so when the leads come in, high performers, their phone rings first. Right? If a high performer doesn't answer on our team, it goes to another team and to their high performers. If it goes to everybody and no one answers, then the fair performers get a shot.
What about the people who are just entering the system?
Everybody starts off as a fair performer. So if you're brand new, that's the good thing. You don't start off high or low, you start off as fair, and then you will get a shot to bring your numbers up and move into the high category. Right? And so that's the thing. Now, remember, it's not only the incoming leads we have a whole pond of leads as well that get you credit for those, right? So even if you're newer, and let's say you're not getting new leads from Zillow, but you got assigned 100 Zillow Flex leads from our pond, and you convert those count. So you can quickly become a high performer by just converting some of those numbers.
So it's anyone you refer to home loans.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be just a Zillow, right?
That's what I'm asking. It shouldn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
They're getting a loan.
So if you have a SOI deal and you refer them to Zillow to get pre-approved, that counts towards your numbers. So you can influence your number. So let's say you got 20 connections from Zillow, but then you referred one of your SOI. Well, that's still going to count as one of those 20, right? They're going to look at, I gave you 20, how many turned into a pre-approval? That's all they care about. That's what I like about it. It's really simple. It's just like, if I give you so many, get so many in contract, give us so many pre-approved. That's all you got to do, right? To follow the rules. Yeah. Yeah. So we were just talking about that, right? So the only solution, if you have leads that were Zillow and then you return them to the pond, but they're still showing in your Zillow app, the only way to get those out is you got to send them back to me. Yeah. Because I'm the main account holder and then you guys are all under our team. And so they either are under you or they're under me. That's the only 2 options, right? So if you want to get rid of them so they're not counting towards you at all, send them to me and then they will just stay under my name.
Because they are not doing anything since they are not in my phone. The Zillow must be counting that I'm not changing any status and not contact.
Well, Zillow is only going to grade the last 6 months of connections. So if I gave you a lead within the last 6 months, a new connection, that's counting towards your numbers. But let's say you had a lead that was in our system from a year ago. It's actually good because if you get that in contract, it's like a bonus. It boosted your numbers and it's going to go against the leads that you got in the last 6 months, right? So those old leads are good, actually. Those actually help our numbers because they're not counting against us like in the 6-month period, but they're helping us when we do get something in contract. It's kind of confusing.
About the Zillow leads that are over 2 years old, they don't get cut out.
Those don't count.
Well,
So-
they would count for a pre-approval though.
Yeah. So any pre-approval counts. So that's a good question. So John said, what about the Zillow leads that are over 2 years where Zillow doesn't get a referral fee? So those don't count towards our Zillow conversion, right? Those count towards us closing a deal and making commission and we don't have to pay Zillow. But if you send that one to get pre-approved, that counts towards your pre-approvals, right? So there's still opportunities there to hit those numbers. Jose, you had a question. Sorry, bro.
You just explained it. I was about to take my hand out.
Okay.
So when you say assign them back to me, what you're saying here is that instead of returning the lead bond, you actually assign it to you?
So you can do 2 things is you can return it. Well, I'm going to have to figure out a system, right? Because if everyone starts assigning leads to me, I'm going to have thousands of leads being assigned to me. You can return it to the pond. I'm trying to think. I'm going to have to come up with the system, guys, right? If you guys assign it to me, then that means I'm going to have to clean out my FUB because I also don't want them just sitting under me. Or I might have to set up a second profile for myself.
Or another pond. Like a specific pond to return those to, and then you can go through it at your leisure and. just go over it.
The problem is it doesn't clear it from your Zillow
Right,
profile.
yeah, but then if you pull it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at converting, right? But I'm pushing like my guys on one side, don't push Zillow at all. So what's like the protocol? How do we take care of our guys?
So remember, all we need is a pre-approval. They just want to crack at it. That's it. That doesn't mean they're going to win it, right? And they know they're not going to win everything. So to play the game with Zillow, every buyer that you get from Zillow, say, hey guys, we have multiple lenders that we encourage you to shop around with. We have our preferred guy from Zillow. We have our preferred in-house lender. I'd like you to talk to both of them, see who could compete for the best deal. And so I would send it to both of them.
Just sending it is enough, right? Is that part of the?
They have to fill out an application. So they have to get pre-approved, right? They have to get pre-approved. And then at that point, it's up to Zillow to close the deal. And some of them they close, some of them they're better, some of them they're not better, right? Maybe because you already know it comes down to rates and fees and service and all that stuff. And so it's a competitive type of deal, right? Now, if it's your SOI, you don't have to give your SOI to Zillow, right? They're not, it'll help our numbers, but they're not making us responsible for outside deals, right? They're just looking at, if I gave you 20 leads from Zillow, how many of them did you at least send over 2 that got pre-approved?
What about the ones that they get pre-approved going through Zillow and we throw them back into the pond for whatever reason? Is that those leads come back to us?
They get pre-approved through Zillow and you throw them back to the pond. No, once you let go of a lead, guys, assume that lead is not coming back to you. If it comes back to you, that's a bonus, right? Now, because remember, we have our ISAs calling these leads. So if our ISA calls a lead and books the appointment and they see that John was talking to this person for 6 months before he releases to the pond, there's a chance John might get a crack at it again. But then also if John let it go and he's like, hey, I don't want this lead, it's not mandatory that it goes back to John. So I wouldn't bank on it going back to you. I would say, if you know this is a solid lead and you're going to work it, keep it. If you're just like, hey, I've never talked to this guy, I can't get a hold of them, they're not responding, it's a bad lead, those ones toss, right? But remember, we're playing the long game, right? So if you talk to someone and maybe they're just like 6 to 9 months out, we shouldn't give that back to the pond. If you had a great conversation with them and they said it's okay to follow up with me, that's you're building your pipe, right? You're nurturing them. So just be really cautious off what you let go, right? Now, maybe they're just not responding to you. Hey, I have an agent. I don't want to talk to anybody else. Then it's going to be up to you if you want to try to keep working that, right? Or it's a bogus lead, right? But you guys should all get to a point where you got a good, healthy pipeline of people who are now business, mid-tier, and later business, right? Shri, last Zillow lead you got in contract. How long have you had that lead for? 23 months. Just shy of the 24-month mark. No, but we need that number to hit our numbers, right? So Shri just got a Zillow deal in contract, and he got that lead 23 months ago, right? Because after 2 years, then we don't have to pay Zillow, which, yeah, but then we also need the number, right? Because to stay in the Zillow program, we need to hit our numbers, so I wouldn't bank off trying to cheat the system, guys, right? Like, just work it, right? Some of them, like some of you guys have gotten leads and like it was a 3-year-old lead and we didn't have to pay anything, right? It is what it is, but when we think long-term, the game, we want to keep that Zillow relationship because that feeds us a lot of business, right? Everybody's winning off of Zillow, the referral business. I mean, I always use this example, like you have one client that you got from Zillow that gave you like 7 or 8 referrals already. Listing referrals, guys, multiple buyer referrals, and like good price points, 1.5, $2 million deals, where that first one was a Zillow.
And it was when we first joined.
And it was when we first started in Zillow, and from that relationship, she's gotten so much business that Zillow doesn't touch. You don't pay anything, right? And she gets paid a higher split because it's considered an agent-generated lead. So remember, guys, like the Zillow is a partnership, right? We want to play the game. We want to perform with Zillow because it could be a big pillar in your business aside from all the other stuff you do, aside from your open houses, your networking, your social media. It's part of the wheel, right? Question.
As a buyer, and if you work them as a agent also, so you have to give zero commission in both ways.
2-year period. So if they transact within 2 years, then you have to pay Zillow. If 2 years passes, then we don't pay Zillow. Yeah. So if they buy a house today, we pay Zillow. If they sell that same house in 6 months, you pay Zillow. If they sell that house in 2 years, you don't pay Zillow. Yeah, it's a 2-year rule it's 2 years from the last closed transaction. Anything. Clock ticks for 2 years. So from the day you close a deal, if they do any other transaction within 2 years after that, you have to pay Zillow. It's from the close date. They go off close date. Yeah. Future transactions go off close date. The first transaction goes from when they came in the system. Right? Great questions, guys. We're coming up on time. Any last minute questions?
Can you hear the name of the preferred lenders that we teamed with? I know there was like 3 names or 4 names that came up. There's a lot.
There's a few.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
Left-hand side, under the left side of things, you click the tab, there's like, I don't know, what would it be, 12, 15, somewhere around there?
Because I just click like preferred lender and then just automatically generates a name and it gives me like the information, but I thought we had like 3 or 4.
Oh, it has a little drop down and you could.
Yeah, but there's a bunch of them on there when you drop down. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to build a relationship with some of them, right? And so on that meeting we had like 3 or 4 lenders that came on. I think Ben was one of them, right? Paul, and then the Spanish speaker, what was her name? Tracy. I think she's the one that spoke Spanish.
Okay.
So I think Ben, Paul, and Tracy. And is there any other ones that you guys talk to consistently? I think those are our top 3: Ben, Paul, and Tracy.
Okay.
Tracy speaks Spanish. Yeah, and so what I would do if I were you is I would call them, right, and just introduce yourself, establish that rapport. Or if you remember any of them, like who's had a great experience with Ben? Anybody? John? Who's had a great experience with Paul? Anybody? Very good follow-up, right? Who's had a good experience with Tracy, the other one? Anybody? Okay.
I just sent her one yesterday, so.
Okay. It's like anything, right? Like we have multiple lenders here, right? We got Jason, we got Steve, we got David, so whoever you feel comfortable with or you build that relationship with, because remember, no lender can handle all of the deals, guys. They're not only working with our team, they're working with other teams, so just imagine how many opportunities they're getting, And the other thing I want to tell you guys is it's not only on the lender to follow up, right? That's the part I want to leave with or end with. It's important that we look at this as a partnership. Even when you're working with Steve or Jason or David, you're not like, I gave it to Steve, you do your thing and let me know when they're ready. Like that's not how it goes, right? And that's not how it goes with Zillow. So if you give it to Ben and Ben's trying to call the client and not responding, it's better that you do a warm intro. Or what a lot of teams have been doing, I don't know if you guys have tried this, is when they go show the home and they actually get the lender on the line. Hey, Ben, I'm over here. I'm meeting John Smith for the first time. We're showing a home. I just wanted to quickly introduce you guys. And they get the lender on the line while they're showing that first home, just to do like a warm introduction. And he'll usually say, hey, he'll introduce himself. They kind of know who they are. This way now going forward, when you do like a text intro or when you select them in FUB, they know who Ben is or Paul or Tracy. And that's what teams are doing locally that are performing very, very well with their metrics. And so we're at a point, guys, where we cannot avoid sending stuff to Zillow, right? In the beginning, we're like kind of cherry picking a little bit, right? Like, because, obviously we have relationships here, right? We want to keep it in-house if we can, but the big picture is the Zillow is the asset, right? The Zillow relationship. So we got to play the game. And there's enough business to go around, guys. It's an abundance mindset. Zillow will not win every deal, right? So just send them, hit your numbers. That's all you got to worry about. Okay, I know we went through a lot, guys. Any last minute questions, thoughts, concerns? All right, that's all we got, guys. Let's clap it up. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me know if you need anything, guys.